Well, I got sent this lovely gift by Ailish Burns. Thank you, Ailish. I really do appreciate it. And if ever you want to send me anything, my PO box is in the description below of every video. And she sent me this strawberry mold and these 2 shell molds. So I'm going to show you how to turn these into something that's quite saleable. Now, the strawberry mold, I think that needs some wonderful chameleon flakes on it. You know me and my chameleon flakes, I do love them. And I'm going to be using the fuchsia chameleon flakes on the strawberry, and how I'm going to do that is by painting these directly on here. Use a brush when using chameleon flakes and a sponge when using chameleon powders, and these will brush on here really well like this. What's important is once they're on there is to burnish them. That way you will get that beautiful shine. So I'm going to go around the whole thing with this, move them out the way and that out the way so I don't get them on it, and brush these chameleon flakes on. And these chameleon flakes are by Let's Resin. I will link them in the description below. They are amazingly beautiful chameleon flakes. Look how pretty that is already. So that's nicely covered now, and all I need to do is push that in the right way. Now by doing this, I am going to knock off a little bit of that chameleon powder, but I'm not too worried about that, because what I'm going to do now is go back in with my brush and give that a bit of a buff. And then the stalk part of it, I don't need to turn that inside out. All I need to do is brush my powder in this, and I'm using a green here. There we go, and that's nicely covered. So I'm now ready to pour these, and I've got something special that I'm going to do for the shells, and I'll show you that in a second. I'm going to need 2 different base colours for this, a green for the top and a red here. So I'm going to give those a good old shake, those opaque pigments. I will list them in the description below so you can get hold of them. And I need 200 mils of my resin. So I'm going to mix that up now. So for this one, I'm going to use the Pure Glossy by Tea Expert. It's a great resin, as I've shown before. Really good quality resin, great price, but also it gives you an amazing glossy finish. And it's easy to mix up. You mix it up as a 1-to-1. So the same amount of A as B. And I'm mixing it up in my large bowl that comes in my kit. So I'm going to mix that up for 4 minutes using my Resiners mixer, hand-free. Love this piece of kit. I use it every time I mix resin now. I have had a few people ask me about its stability. It is actually very stable. You don't have it lifted up like this for long anyway, and when you do, you've got holes on it, but it is a quite weighty piece at the bottom. The other thing that's really important to think about is if you're mixing a thin resin, so you don't need to have it on full power. I have it about there, and I'm going to start marking where I want it using a marker like this. So for instance, I know that's there for a thinner resin, and for a thicker resin I have it about there. And that way you're not going to mix in lots of bubbles into it. Although it is very good, it doesn't actually mix lots of bubbles into it. And one of the other questions I got asked about this was, how do you replace the paddles, and are they expensive? Well, I don't think you'll need to replace the paddles, because these are really quite solid and good quality. So they're not looking to, because someone said, oh, I bet the paddles are going to be nearly as expensive as the machine. Well, I doubt they would be, but secondly, I can't see why you would want to replace these paddles, because they are such sturdy, good quality. And once your resin's mixed, all you need to do is lift that up like that and allow the resin to run off your paddle. And then once you're happy that it's run off your paddle, just take your paddle off, get a baby wipe or any type of wipe really, and just wipe that off there. And then it comes up beautifully and clean, ready to be used next time. And if you do by mistake allow your resin to stick and go solid on there, it's not a major problem, because this is plastic and it will come off. So there we go, that's all mixed up, and as you can see there's hardly any bubbles in there. It hasn't created a mass of bubbles, and thankfully it doesn't. If not, it would be pointless using it unless you're going to stick it all in your bubble machine. So I hope that's answered some of your questions. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to put some resin in a separate cup for this. Hopefully I've mixed up enough. And now I'm going to add some red opaque pigment into that and give that a mix round. And now I've added the red pigment powder in there. What I'm also going to do is add a little bit of mica powder, again a red, and mix that round. There we go. And now I can pour that directly into this mold and then give it a bit of squidgy widgy all the way around. I haven't mixed up enough, so I'm going to have to mix up a bit more. I've put that to one side, and what I can do is let any bubbles come up to the top from the mixing in of the mica powder and burn them off with a long neck lighter. Now this one, obviously I need the green for this. So I've got my green mixed up, and what I'm going to do first is pour a little bit into that bit there, and then make sure that I've got no trap bubble in that. I don't want that to be ruined. And then pour some in here, and then squidgy widgy all the way around these little bits here to make sure I get my resin into those. So now that's filled up to the top as well, we can put that to one side. And these ones I'm going to make using the sawdust method. So I've got some sawdust here, which is just pet bedding, and I'm going to pop some of that into this jug and give that a good mix around in that resin, and that'll absorb into there. And I've got the colour in there as well, so it's going to make that colour. So this is a little bit drier than I would like, so what I'm going to do is pop some more resin in there, make this a little bit more wet, because the wood does absorb quite a lot of that resin. And now I'm also going to sprinkle in some glitter, give that a mix in, and that's kind of the consistency that we want, a nice wet consistency but not too wet, if that makes sense. And now what I'm going to do is put that in my mold and then finger that right the way into all the nooks and crannies as well. And then we can have a look around to make sure that we've not got any gaps. And now all we need to do is lay that down as flat as we can get it, and then top it up with a little bit of resin. And then again, we can burst any bubbles that come up as they come up. And then I'm going to do the same with this one, but instead of the green, I'm going to be using the red. Well, these are all ready now, and I can leave them to cure up overnight and then show you what they look like when they're cured up. Can't wait to show you. Well, these are all cured now, and I actually demolded this bit before I turned the camera on because I was getting a bit excited. And that has come out really well. Because we did all that squidgy widgy on it, then every detail has come out and we've not got anything that has been lost to bubbles. So let's take this bit off of this strawberry. Oh, and that has come out really, really well. I love that little pot. I think these are going to be extremely popular. I think that's come out beautiful. And that chameleon flakes really does give a great effect. And these are the ones we did with the sawdust. Now, these should demold really, really easily, and these are great for putting plants in or just having sitting on your windowsill. If you want to, you can use a more translucent color and then you'll get to see a little bit more of the sawdust, but I actually like this as well as the translucent effect. Look how brilliant and glossy that is, and that's because we used the pure gloss resin. It really does make a difference. That's so shiny. And there's this one. I think that's come out great as well. I hope you've enjoyed this. Move that like button, hit that subscribe button, check out the video that I've got coming up now, which is how I discovered this sawdust method, and it has proven to be really, really popular. That's coming up next, but most of all, enjoy your resin. Take care. Bye.